Good afternoon and welcome to a wet and miserable M40 motorway. We're on our way back up north from down south, obviously. Right, the future. As a business owner, and most of yourselves are going to be small business owners or sole traders, you've constantly got to be thinking about the future. In this industry, things change a lot over time and quickly sometimes, and sometimes over a period of time. So, obviously, COVID was actually a busy period for us in the same day industry because everyone had to stay at home, but we didn't. We had to move goods up and down the country every single day, making sure that people got what they needed. And also, during COVID, there was lots of sample runs. So it was a very, very busy time. After COVID, things changed. It went a bit quieter. We're going into, or we're in a recession. Everyone's bills are through the roof. And it's going quieter. But what does the future hold? Well, we don't know. But we've got to preempt things. We've got to try and future-proof our companies, our businesses, our livelihoods. So, I've got a scenario that could possibly happen in the future. I want to go over it. I want to say how it's going to affect us all. And then I want you in the comments to leave what you think is going to happen in the future and how you think that will affect this industry and us as drivers. So we've all heard speculation, and there is some truth to it, that tachographs are coming in for UK vans. Now, there's no set guideline, like they've not put out that we're going to have driver's hours like wagons or operators licenses, which you probably wouldn't have to have, or anything like that. So there's nothing set in stone yet. But let's go over the scenario. Right, 2026 rolls around. You now have a tachograph fitted in your van. Your van weighs between 2.5 and 3.5 ton, like my van does. And you've got a tachograph. And now you're on driver's hours. Theoretically, as a van driver now, you are subject to driver's hours anyway, but now you are regulated, you have a tachograph, you have to take certain breaks. But, obviously, if you've got a van like mine, which doesn't have a tachograph machine fitted, it's going to cost you some money to have one retrofitted. I've done some looking online. It tends to be around £1,200 to £2,000 to have one retrofitted to a van. Not cheap. So you're going to have that initial cost. And then with tachographs comes other things, such as operators licenses. So let's say, for instance, you've got to get an operator's license for your van. You've then got the cost of getting the operator's license. Luckily enough, with vans, you don't need to put it in the paper, and you don't need an operating yard. Currently, if you're doing European work, that's what the operator's license states for vans. But you're still going to have to pay to get that operator's license. And then you need a transport manager. So transport managers for trucks are around £450 a month. So that could be an extra outlay for you as a van driver, £450 a month for a transport manager. That's a lot of money, if you think about it. So already in this scenario, you got the extra cost of having a tacho fitted, you got the extra cost of getting an operator's license, you got the extra cost of a transport manager, and then you've got to think, how am I going to get all this extra cost repaid to me? Am I going to up my prices on the CX? Am I going to up my prices to my customers? How much can I up my prices by? Well, the fact of the matter is not that much. Because if you think about it, trucks that are currently running on the HX aren't charging massively more than we are. According to the HX themselves, like 7.5 tons probably running for like £2.50. 18 tons are running for £3.50 a mile. Like, there's not massive differences there between running Lutons or extra long wheelbases to running trucks. So there's not much you can go up by before you get into truck territory. And then they're not going to pay you as a van driver to do that, because they could get it on a truck. Or they could go through the pallet network, which are a hell of a lot cheaper. And these people already have operators licenses, already have transport managers, and all them costs that they're covering. So where does that leave us? Well, I don't think the transport manager will cost as much as a truck, because I don't think there'll be as much to do, but I might be wrong. And I do think that prices are going to have to increase for vans, but not by very much. So you're going to have to make at least an extra £400 a month, plus try and make some of that initial layout back for the tachograph and the O licence, etc. So you're probably looking at trying to get an extra 30p per mile, which I don't think a lot of people will be happy to pay. But then they're not going to have a choice, because they need those jobs covering, obviously. But then you've also got to think of the repercussions of you charging more. So the repercussions of you charging more as a courier is it's costing the shipper or the freight forwarder more, so it's costing the customer more. Then the goods are having an extra fee put on them because they need to ship them as well. If that's costing more, then shipping fees are going to go up. And then stuff that we go and buy from our local shops or stuff that we have ordered to our house is obviously going to have the effect. So everything we buy is going to cost more. And everything already costs a fortune. So we don't want it costing too much more. So I do think that that's probably going to be the future for vans. That's my scenario that I'm playing with at the minute. I do think we are going to throw up our prices, but I don't know how much. I don't know how much we can get away with. And then obviously we've got the repercussions of it falling down, and then affecting us in a different way when we order stuff. And it comes to us because it's going to cost more. So, at the end of the day, the government is screwing us again. Thank you. So what do you think is going to happen? Because most people that watch these videos are going to be driving a van, thinking about driving a van, new to the industry, old to the industry. You're going to have your own thoughts. You're going to have your own plans for the future. What do they include? Do they include an operator's license? Have you thought about actually having tachographs in the van? Because it's a massive possibility. It's very likely to happen very soon. And would it make you more interested in possibly doing European work? If you got the O license, you can get an international O license and do European work as well. Would you then add trailers to your vans? Because with your operator's license, then you can add trailers because you can go over 3.5 ton. Would you move into trucks? Or would you all buy a van that's less than 2.5 ton? I feel like a lot of people would. I also feel like a lot of people would find it too much hassle and pack it in. And there'd be probably a 30% drop in same day van drivers across the UK. And if that happens, then there'll be a lot more work for the van drivers that are carrying on and are going to go through all the changes. And then do you need to put your prices up if you're doubling your workloads? I don't know. What do you think? Leave it in the comments below. I think that's the scenario I'm looking at for the future. I have said a few times now I would like to tow trailers and do other stuff and potentially go into Europe later on in a few years' time. But for now, I'm just happy driving around the UK and seeing all the sights. Thank you for listening to me jabber on, and please have a fantastic weekend. I've spent some time with your families, spend some time with your loved ones, or just go out and have fun, whatever you want to do. So, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.